Sounds great.
Good day, sir. You're currently speaking with Langelishe Shongwani. I'm the host of Life by the Page podcast, whereby we interview entrepreneurs like yourself. So I'm gonna start by asking about your background and what you do, man.
Great. First of all, thank you for having me on your program. It's an honor to speak with you. I've been watching what you do on LinkedIn and bringing these technologies and really educating people to the things that are available to your country and how to get there. So I appreciate being on. Jeff Szur of Altitude Water. I'm a COO and majority shareholder. We've been in the atmospheric water generation business for better part of 15 years. And what we do is we create the purest water from the air. So we basically make pure water by capturing the humidity through basically taking what nature has done since the earth was created and duplicating it in a machine. Okay, it's how nature uh cleanses itself. So as you know, even in Africa with the sanitation, it's tough. The groundwater is being contaminated. The aquifers are being contaminated. You can drill wells, and all of a sudden, you know, you might find water, but it's so contaminated that you need a really good purification process. We let nature do the purification process. What we like to say is, with all those filters they're trying to take out of the groundwater, is never in our water. So when we capture and convert humidity to drinking water, nothing adheres to that process. So think about how you distill water, right? You boil the water, it goes up to steam, you capture the steam, you bring it back down to drinking water. So yeah, a lot of people say, you know, that doesn't, it sounds too good to be true. It usually is. How can you really do that? You know, are you sure that nothing adheres to the process? And I look at them and I say, well, where does 90% of our evaporation come from? And they look at me and I say, the ocean, right? You know, we're 75% water. The ocean's the largest part of our planet. And they go, yeah. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had salt rain? And they go, no. I'm like, well, all the salt, all the stuff is left behind as the water goes up. So the key to our technology, that's right, you know, it's the water cycle. It's what we learned about in seventh grade, right? But you know, God's done such a great job in providing that to us. So, you know, what we like to say here at Altitude Water is let's get back to nature. Nature does things the right way, right? We're the ones that mess it up. Man, people and man are the ones that pollute it, destroy it, tear it down. You know, so you know, with the plastic that is just inundated our planet. So we're just trying to be as efficient and what makes us different. So there are other companies that capture water from the air, but what makes us the most efficient is our years of experience. We're about 92% efficient in capturing the water that's in the air. And then the second thing that sets us apart from everyone else is our patented ozone purification technology. Again, going back to nature, right? So ozone's a natural gas. It's what protects our planet, right? The ozone layer. But ozone is one of the most powerful water purifiers known to man. So we have a system which is called our EnviroGuard purification system, that every 20 minutes we put ozone into the water, circulate it throughout the system, and now the water is the purification method. So the ozone's not only purifying the water, but then the water is keeping our machine pure of any bacteria. You know, anytime you store water, bacteria wants to grow in it, right? So you know, you start getting biofilm in the tubing, not in our machines. We have the only purest water and the only self-cleaning machine. So in a nutshell, we started in this business, my father and I, back in 2008, really selling other people's machines. And then in 2009, 2010, we found out about ozone and found out the benefits of ozone. And then we found a core engineers and people in the industry, and they've been with us 15 years. So that's what makes the better mousetrap. It's the technology and the people, and we have both.
So for a person who's like clueless in all of this, because you're going to different countries, you're trying to tell the story. You have this tech innovation that you started with your father and everything. So for a person who's very clueless, who doesn't understand all of this, you're telling them you have this technology of this machine that takes air and it creates water. All I know is that water comes from the ocean and the rain. That's how we make water. And like, how do I know that this won't kill me? Just it's not contagious. How do you prove to people, to the person, you know?
Well, we're in over 70 countries. We have water tests from around the world. In your backyard, we're a little further north of you on the great continent is Cameroon, and we are putting. As a matter of fact, my HVAC engineer and project manager and new minority owner, he's been with us so long that we said all the great things that you're doing, we're going to make. His name is Jamie Ditzler, and he's going over to Cameroon, to Maka, Cameroon, a village of 1,000 people. We're supplying 1,000 gallons. Now you ask, how would the lay person know that what I'm saying is true? Well, this is $1 million project, and the L'Oreal Woman Sustainability Fund put over $300,000 into it, and they don't give a grant for that type of thing without saying, "Hey, let's test this." So we work with an incredible 501c3 called Jean-Philippe Scotcha Foundation, who is our boots on the ground. They're in Bugatti, about 45 minutes from the village of Maka. They built the school there, and now we've built the water hub. The buildings already there. Our T200, which makes about 368 gallons, so about 1,200 or 1,300 liters a day. So when I say we're doing 1,000 gallons, it's basically 4,000. I got to remember, everyone else uses liters. We sound arrogant when we're the only ones that are going with gallons. So let me rephrase that with 4,000 liters and about 1,300 liters from one of our machines. And so we're hooking that up to solar. African Solar Generation is our solar partner in that project. So as I said, we have disaster relief trailers in Maui that are supplying the homeless. So we've been on Amy Grant's farm for 10 years. So we have a long track record and water tests. We just came back from Colombia. The mayor tested all of our water there. So you can be, and again, it's the science. Anyone will tell you that when water goes from a gas form to a liquid form, it's pure. It's how you distill water. Now, what we do is we add minerals, we add calcium and magnesium to raise the pH to make it an alkaline drinking water. And here we don't drink water out of plastic. We drink it out of wine glasses here at altitude. And if you see all of those bubbles, that's the oxygen. So our water through the ozone, it almost looks carbonated, and that's the result of our patented ozone purification process, where ozone after 20 minutes turns into oxygen. So you can actually see the oxygen bubbles in the
Yeah, sure.
glass. Cheers. I can't wait to get you to try one of the glasses with
I
this.
can't wait, man. So I can't wait.
So that's how people can know. Again, we have science and we have data, we have testing, we have testimonials, all the things that you look for when you're doing your due diligence to make sure that if something sounds too good to be true, it's not too good to be true. So what do? You ask questions, you ask for data, you ask for the science, and you ask for testimonies from other customers, and we have all of that.
So how many countries have you been moving across? Because I'm just so curious, you know.
It's what is it, Jamie, about 70 countries now. I think, yeah, so between 62 and 70. I don't know what the exact number is. Last time I remember it was for sure it was 62. I think we just added Costa Rica, which is the first time that we shipped there. Uh, Malawi was another one that we, so somewhere between 64 and 70 countries my team has built, and we have machines operating in those countries. What we like to say here at Altitude Water is the sun never sets on one of the machines we built.
Because, you know, one of my friends, you know, we're just having a conversation about this, you know, because you're coming across as a person who's coming across with this technology, you know, because now you're eliminating certain workers. Let's say you're coming in Africa, in South Africa, you know, the people who use tanks, you know, the workers, truck
Right.
drivers, yeah, truck drivers, they transport people. So now you're gonna eliminate
Sorry,
those.
the factory is doing a whole bunch of grinding right now, so I just asked them to cut it down so I can hear you a little bit better
Oh,
coming
so,
in.
so sorry, man, sorry.
No, no, don't be sorry. It's important to, as much as it is to build the machines and everything like that, it's also important to get the word out to a lot of people and to educate people. So they can stop for 40 minutes while I get interviewed by you and
I appreciate it, man.
enjoying your
Thank you for coming
entrepreneurial.
in.
Oh, it's my pleasure, brother.
So as I was trying to explain this, so you're coming up with this tech innovation, right? And now you're eliminating certain policies. Let's say you're gonna come in South Africa, right? There are people that have tanks, people that are truck drivers transporting all these things. They're gonna lose their jobs. So how are you fighting those challenges? What are the challenges that you're currently facing now, and how are you planning to fix those problems, right? To come up with more job opportunities because your technology, you're going to come across as a person who's going to just bring bring your machines and you're going to put water in there. But where the jobs, where the people who are going to look for no money and salaries and everything, if you know what I mean.
Well, absolutely, and I got to tell you, that's a great question. It's one of the things that everything needs to have a program, right? I mean, starting out, we send over test units and we send over T12s for distributors. They purchase a pallet of 4 T12s so they can showcase the technology. But what we look to do is we look to build programs and we look to create jobs, not take away jobs. Now, number one, the people that are driving the trucks with this water, I've got to tell you, I think safety is the most important thing. So if you could say to someone, that water in that heat in South Africa is growing from the time it leaves, and let's face it, it happens in the United States and it happens everywhere. You don't know where your source of water is. I mean, they could be hooking up to a river. We were just in Costa Rica, and we know that the government goes to this dirty river, takes the water, and puts it in one of these big blue tanks that sits out in the. Safety should be first of your countrymen and women, that they're getting safe water to drink, right? So we do that, but we would look, especially somewhere like South Africa, and we take our time in trying to find out or find the right partners. But we start creating assembly jobs, but then you start doing training on HVAC, plumbing, electrical. So you're creating that. Then just like you said, there's not a lot of infrastructure in these remote places. When now all of a sudden we start getting, number one, where the panels are basically, any country that has a distributor panels or base of solar panels are basically distributing the same type of thing, and for shipping costs. So just like you talk about Maka and the Maka project, we hired African Solar Generation. They're a solar company located in Cameroon. We're creating jobs through that partnership. Then as well, we're going to put classes on in the water hub, we built it big enough so we have classrooms, but we start giving educational and tutorial on solar. Okay, so now you're giving these kids a job that's going to expand, or and a technology in a space that's going to do nothing but expand on your continent, right? Because you don't, what better way, because you don't have the infrastructure that other continents have, like Europe, as the electrical. You guys will take off with solar because there's nothing stopping you back. I mean, Elon Musk isn't about the car, Tesla, it's about the battery storage. You could take all the sunlight for 8 hours a day and put in storage so you can run stuff at night. So it's exciting times. We work with uh Joachim Noah, whose father is Yannick Noah, grandfather from Cameroon. They have great ties. They're building basketball courts. Joachim Noah is one of the first 5 investors in the NBA in Africa. Building basketball courts, building infrastructure. Luau Dang in Sudan, he has our machines as well. So we look to create a foundation to build upon, not a machine that's taking jobs and industry away from people. We want to grow. I mean, it's better for us to grow with you guys than to take away jobs. So and again, I want to stress the safety of the water and getting pure water to your people is anyone that lives in South Africa, anyone that lives in Cameroon, anyone that lives in Sudan, or all the other countries on the continent, you want to make sure that they're drinking the purest water, because it's a huge issue over there.
Definitely, definitely. I can take that too.
I mean, you
So
guys are known as in South Africa for your incredible wines. You had all of your vineyards and stuff. You couldn't make wine when you guys went through that drought about 4 years ago. I mean, it was serious, and that's a huge that's a huge revenue generator for your country. I mean, you guys have some of the best wines, and so you guys were unknown until about 15 years ago, and how awesome the vineyards and the wines are out of South Africa. So you got to try and protect those resources and those industries that you've built.
so how do you plan on collaborating with Africans, since you've been in contact with you have been partnering with you just mentioned who you're partnering with, and who's the chairperson or what from Africa.
Right.
So what's the next move? So where are you going right now with the altitude water operation? You coming to South Africa? When you're going to South Africa, what's the main goals of the project in the next 10 years, 20 years time?
Yeah, absolutely. So, uh, you have to make sure you have one thing that I've learned is you have to make sure you have the right partners, and you build over time, and follow the guidance of the Holy Spirit, and see that you're in the right place. So we've been uh, we started in Cameroon over 3 years ago, and now by the end of September we'll have our units hooked up to the solar. So it's not a quick process, but anything that's worthwhile takes time. We can cut corners. So when President Ruto came from Kenya over to the United States at the invitation of our President Joe Biden, he stopped in Atlanta to meet with a strong Kenyan group of business leaders, and we actually sat down with the First Lady and the head of her foundation, Mama Doing Good, which was just an incredible full afternoon at Georgia Tech. So we're looking, something just like this, you coming and saying, Jeff, you want to talk about your technology? We deal with entrepreneurs. We're looking to help our country. We're putting the word out there. Would you like to speak about it? I take the time. Absolutely, because you never know who's watching this podcast. You never know. You're sitting here thinking, I can tell, I can see the wheels grinding as you and I are talking, and so you'll be reaching out. That's the 1,000-mile journey starts with that first step, right? So I look forward to see where this goes, and when you try and build the right way and do the right things, the path sort of gets opened up for you. So anyone out there, we're really interested in the right partner, the right distribution partner, that we look to build something for the future, not quick. We're involved with our distributors. We don't view them as salespeople. We view those as strategic partners in different areas of the world. And we would love to be able to have an opportunity to meet the right partner to get the purest water to South Africa.
Thank you, man. We're honored to have you on our show, man. It's a pleasure having such innovators here, like yourself.
No, it's important, I see what you're doing. I see what you're building. Like I said, I saw you on LinkedIn. It's awesome. You get a nice message from you over the weekend that says, I'm looking forward to the interview. I like the things that you're
I was
doing. So
building a hype, man.
no, you're doing your due diligence. You're prepared. That gets me excited. That says, hey, this isn't someone who's just trying to get his name out there. He's putting the work in. He's being as educated as possible for this interview, and that that's exciting. And again, I think that things just like this, you never know. Like I just came back from Costa Rica with a new distributor. And again, it's so important to realize that business is hard. Anyone that sits there and tells you, "Oh, this is going to be easy," every country has its different challenges. I sat there when we were doing the disaster relief for the Maui wildfires. I'm like, man, this is going to be simple, right? It's in the United States. It's one of our states. This should be easy, right? The
Sure.
logistics were just impossible. And you don't realize that the Hawaiian nationals feel like the United States stole their island from them. Okay. And so there's really no real leaders. There's a lot of factions and a lot of, not saying anything negative. I'm sure if I felt I had this beautiful island, the United States came down and said that I'm learning about the history, but again, here I'm in America. You would think just going, that it would be easy. I'm not saying anything negative. I'm not saying people don't have gripes, but it's business is hard, especially you're dealing with disasters, or especially you're dealing with nonprofits that don't have a lot of money. We've got to be bare bone in what we're putting in, because the more, the better use of their money gets better donations, right? When people see, I mean, just like this, L'Oreal wants to see everything hooked up and ready to go. So I always equate it to the great philosopher Mike Tyson, who says that everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face, right? I mean, and it couldn't be said any better, right? I mean, we've all. So what do? Do you either go down and say, "Man, he hit me hard. I'm not. This isn't worth fighting for," or do you get up? I always say there's a huge difference between sustainability and resiliency. I want to be resilient. Because I know, fossil fuels, you burn this much gallon of gas, you're going to create this much energy. When you're dealing with solar and wind, it all depends on the earth and the weather. And, there's no straight formula for that. So when you're building something like this, trust me, I mean, we've been punched in the face a lot in Maca, but when you have the right partners, when you have the right desire, when you have the right people around you, you work together and you get back up and you finish the job instead of quitting. So I always say this new growth and again, your continent has the people, has the resources. I mean, the heart that I'm excited for you guys. You don't have to, rebuild all of these electrical lines, man. You can start and do these microgrids in all the places, and you think about it. You look at, all like look at Liberia. What was the first thing that the government they wiped out all of the big electrical plants because they could isolate everyone once they did that. You have microgrids and you're resilient and sustainable. You don't have to worry about relying on anyone to produce but yourself. So I think that the same thing with your water. They can dam up your river. If they don't want you to get water, they can go 40 miles up the river and dam it up, and you ain't getting any water. But if you have the resiliency to have one of our atmospheric water generators, you're going to be able to have water no matter what, because no one can stop the humidity. It's a gas form of water.
So I just wanna, pick your brain a little bit. I want to get into a point where we're just, browsing and just exploring, other activities. I was just like thinking about this just now. So like as this water is getting generated from the atmosphere, can it generate also electricity? Because the other water generators that, you know, create electricity. Am I right? So like because some innovators out there they were actually looking forward for things like this, just taking the ocean and just generating water and
Right.
to bring electricity to fruition. But can this be used as a plus in any organization for, solar powers? Because you're going to connect solar panels and your machines.
Right.
Yes, yes. Or it's going to take a
I,
lot of energy.
It is. So our T12 basically uses anywhere from 580 watts to 710 watts. And again, depending on the temperature in South Africa, it would always be on the high end, because the hotter it is, the more your draw is going to be. But I mean, it's such a great question. So technologies, I do believe, because our water is always moving. There has been a lot of initial R&D on capturing the energy of that water movement. But to say that it's anywhere close to being commercially applicable, it's not. But then you got a lot of other companies that are using hydrogen power, and obviously H2O is two parts hydrogen, one part oxygen in water. They get their hydrogen from the water. That's another possibility. It's not something that I'm very well versed in. I really concentrate on making our products the best products that are out there. But to answer your question, there are thoughts of that. But where I'm excited is, like, we went down to Colombia, and one of the partners, the same trip that I went to Costa Rica, I went to Colombia, which was just awesome, because we have a school of underprivileged kids using our machines to provide water on this island, about 4 miles from Cartagena, right off the. So you have this island overlooking what looks like South Beach, Miami, with all these high rises in Cartagena, and they have no water out there. And so they're using. But one of the strategic partners who we met with for distribution does the solar, does the wind, but also does hydroelectric, and they have a commercialized unit that in the river, just in a slow moving river, you can generate all of this electricity. So, those are the exciting things. I mean, when we bet, I bet on people that have a vision and have a dream and believe that their desire to help other people. That's the desire for community. I think in the world today, those that are trying to control us, try and take away family and try and take away community. Because if you don't have those two things to fight for, well, what is life all about then, right? You just become a robot. If you don't have a family to fight for, you don't have a community to fight for, then what's life all about? Then you're just going through the motions, right? You're taking emotion out of it, and you're just going through the motions. So I firmly believe that it's important to do effective work where you're creating programs. So that's what excites me.
So also another question I'm just thinking about, how many like families have you helped with this technology? Just elaborate more for the audience, because a lot of communities that are short of water out there, you know, governments not providing sufficient
How many
resources.
families have we helped? That's a wonderful question. I mean, just with one T12 in Colombia, we're helping 29 families. Um, Geez. I mean, we're in hospitals in Cameroon, so their ability to have pure water. Not only that, but sanitizing aspects using the ozone purification. I don't know. I over these 15, I mean, for 10 years, we've built a water facility on Amy Grant's farm. Amy Grant, the Christian artist, and her husband Vince Gill, who's well known, he just toured with the Eagles. Um, big U.S. People, but they donated their farm, and we provide water in the summer. They have sulfur water in the mountains of Tennessee. So the people, it smells like rotten eggs. It's horrible. No one will drink the water. So for the past decade, we've been providing water to underprivileged kids, and so each week there's 300 kids that are so each week in the summer. So uh, you know I say this, and honestly, I don't care if people believe me or not. It doesn't. They can say I'm full of it, and that's fine. But I get more joy out of a kid coming up and hugging me and thanking me for the water than I do on a 250,000 or $500,000 sale to a distributor. I'll never forget. So, I've talked about the Maca project, and before we started anything, Jean-Philippe Gaucho, they have a beautiful facility in Bagati, Cameroon, talking about the heritage, the teaching agriculture. I mean, just love what they do. But they invited us out there for 3 to 4 days to make sure we were the type of people that we're gonna be resilient. We're gonna when things got difficult, when we got punched in the face, whether we and one of the lead ladies from from John Felice Gaucho, but coordination with Aqua Vera, who's the head. I failed to mention them, but they're incredible. They're the ones that raised the money from the L'Oreal, but they actually looked and they had this one little boy, and I think he was 9 at the time, and his brother, who was 15, died the year before from a water related disease. So there's 1,000 people in this village, and they average somewhere in the range of 4 to 6 deaths from water related disease because the the women go 4.2 kilometers to the river now to bring the water back. That's in the river now, and they're washing their clothes. They're, it's the animals, where they're getting the water from is not safe. And he whenever one of these top notch ladies comes in from Jean-Philippe Goucher from France, she brings him from the village and keeps him on the grounds and everything like that, because they have that type of relationship. And we were at dinner and he looked at me and he said, "Are you going to be like the German company who drilled a well, and the minute that one of the parts failed, that they walked away from us, and now we just have a hole in the ground that doesn't do anything?" And this is a kid who I've just spent 2 days, who walked us around the whole compound. I see him smile. It's stuff like that if your heart doesn't guide you to be diligent and to know that there's much greater things for you to do that are bigger than you are as a person, then I don't know who they are. But I'm very faith-based. I'm very believing in my God and my Savior. So to me, I do all the other work so I can do good. I sometimes get into battles with my other partners and stuff like that. They're like, "We're not a nonprofit, Jeff," and they're right. I mean, without question, I got to do good to do well. I got to sell my thing. I got to be able to do that, but it doesn't take away from my heart and what I love to do. So that's that those are the things that are important for me. Those are the things that store up, and that transform. You have to have a theory of change. You just can't go into somewhere and I go by the mantra: if someone's hungry, you give them a fish, eats for a day. You teach them the fish, they're gonna eat for a lifetime, right? And in order to break, we my family, every family has generational curses, things that our ancestors and us have been passed down. Because why? As kids, we do what our fathers do, we do what our mothers do, we do what our parents do, right? So there's a lot of good things that they pass down, but there are a lot of bad things too, which you don't realize when you're a kid, but you grow older. So the other thing is, how do you convince families in Cameroon that
Sorry.
so it's important to have a theory of change. Like, how do you go into a family in Cameroon and say, their livelihood has their 5 kids out in the field, you know, harvesting their crops, or there's no infrastructure, where they coordinate. It's all hard work. So the family unit is. So how do you convince them and say, look, we're going to now give your the mother, the matriarch of this family, 4 to 6 hours a day back to you. But it's important to get your kids' education. So let's work a schedule. They can be out in the field, but they're not going to be out in the field all day. We got to bring them out, and we got to bring them back to school. And the program that we're putting in not only gives them a degree from Cameroon, but from the United States. This is a United States certified educational program. So you try and explain to them that while it may be difficult this first season of integrating your best workers in the field that have to take some time to be educated, but once they get, you start showing them, like the Philippines, where all these families put together so they could have a nursing background. They come to the United States, and then the nurses in the United States are sending money back to put the other kids through school, and being able to build on that, and being able to now hire people for the fish farm, so they're able to, so you start showing different theories of change. Unless you identify what the issues are, and you're not going to identify all of them, okay, but the like being able to understand two stories that are pretty funny. They drilled a borehole for this African community, and so the women didn't have to. It was a well. It was a shallow well though, but and they woke up the next day and it had been filled in, and they're like, "What the heck?" Come to find out, it's the women who were going down to the river. They didn't want that to stop. That was their girl time. They they were going down to the river, talking about their husbands. It got them out of the village. They didn't want that well in there. So here you are. You're putting something in that they don't want. But again, that's a theory of change. You'd be like, okay, why don't you guys learn beating? And you want that camaraderie. We want that camaraderie. But how come this is going to help your whole community? Let's get your girl time. A different way. And then the other one was David Meyer, who Joyce Meyer, Hands of Hope. He took it over, and his first project was in Haiti. He was giving this village chicken. They were building chicken coops, and then the foundation gave all the funds to build the chicken coops and the chickens. And he was like, man, he was so proud of himself. They're gonna have fresh eggs. They're gonna be able to sell it. Look at patting himself on the back for what a great job he did. 6 months later, he goes down there and the chicken coops are empty. And he's like, what happened? And they said, well,
What happened to the chickens?
our leader's daughter was getting married. It's our tradition to throw a huge party. They were on the menu and he goes, until you realize the culture and the different things, you think you're doing it, you look at it from a North American or American. He goes, I didn't incorporate the Dominican Republic or the Haiti, how they operate. And he goes, you got to learn it. And so that's why the right partners in the areas. I don't know the culture and the history of South Africa. You do. The people that you're associated with do. And so that's what's building those foundations of trust. That's what's building a team that when we get punched in the face, because we will get punched in the face, how are we going to handle it? Are we going to quit, or are we going to get up together and finish the job?
One last question, Mr. Jeff. For an aspiring entrepreneur, like for a young African entrepreneur who's just looking up to that guy there who created this something that is outstanding, that is just far far thought, it's just out there, it's something that no one can actually think of even creating themselves, like what advice could you just give that young kid that wants to do what you did, that wants to get to that specific level that you currently at right now, that's very hungry, you know. Could you
Don't
just please uh, put a
Yeah,
brief
absolutely,
essay? Yeah.
absolutely, and it was really nice. About 3 months ago, I had won, or my team had won a award as one of the best inventions. This was about in 2011, and they asked me. It was a South Florida Inventor Society, and they asked me to come back and speak a decade later. Giving advice, and I think it may sound cliche, but cliches are there for a reason, because people say it over and over again. But don't ever give up. If you believe that you have the right to be successful, okay, which is everyone has the right to be successful. Okay, there's no doubt that there are a lot of people that have to overcome more than some other people to do it, okay, without question. But if you believe that you have the right, don't listen to the noise, don't listen to the naysayers. Who you surround yourself with is key. Are you going to surround yourself with people who say, oh, you can't do that, you can't, words have power. Words have absolute power. If you're around a whole bunch of people that are telling you you're never going to accomplish that, no way, the cards are stacked against you, you're going to start believing it. Okay. Surround yourself with people who are talking positive things into existence, who are saying, you know what, there's a wall, how are we getting around it? And then again, it's you you have to be in an area that your heart believes in. So what do you believe in? You want to choose the industry that you're what do you believe in? What do you have an affinity for? And then just look at things and say, how would I make that better? How would I make that better? See, an entrepreneur doesn't come up with a new product first. An entrepreneur identifies a need and then finds the product. So you need to find a need in your community that needs to be fixed, and then spend your energy on how to fix that need. So an entrepreneur doesn't go out and find a product first, it finds a need. And so you surround yourself with positive people who, again, I keep saying it, but life isn't easy, and anyone that tells you it is lying to you. So it's just who you surround yourself with, and do you have the internal fortitude to get back up when you're knocked down?
Thank you so
I,
much, man.
yeah, no, listen, I love the questions. I love the hunger. I really appreciate, you doing all the research and stuff like that. Like I could see you on LinkedIn and you sent me a note, and all that stuff is awesome. So I hope this is the start of a longer collaboration, and
Definitely, man. I would love to. I'd love to work with you.
reach
I'd love
out
to.
anytime that you need. If you have some people that you think might be interested, again, if I can get you doing well, I know you're going to do good over there too. So really appreciate the time that you took, and I appreciate you inviting me on your show. I think you're
No,
going to be doing great things.
thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you so much.
Uh,